I'm always wrong when it comes to wrestling. Today, Justin Barrasso, he came out with some leaks for WrestleMania. Nothing really makes sense. Nothing goes the way that I think it should go. Greetings, Lucha lovers. Hutch Henries here from DemandFUCHA, and we're here on the DemandFUCHA YouTube channel. And I thought maybe I would give a little bit of a what's on my mind for this weekend, predictions for the Royal Rumble type video. We've never done anything like this before. And I actually happen to have, my schedule is changing as of today. I'm not doing what I've been doing for the last 6 months or so. And I spent a lot of my morning thinking about wrestling. I had an alarm go off in the early afternoon. I realized I hadn't done very much today, but I had thought about wrestling. It had its claws into me once again. You know, I try not to let the emotion of wrestling get to me or what I think might happen, because I'm always wrong about this kind of stuff, especially with McMahon around. I'm always wrong about who's going to win Drag Race. I'm always wrong about my favorite TV shows being good and they end up sucking, and I'm always wrong about wrestling. You know, since I didn't have to work today or do anything today, I watched a little AEW last night, and I realized Sting and Darby Allin going to get their tag title shot. They're probably going to win the tag titles, have a few defenses, and go on to lose to the Young Bucks in Sting's final match. His only loss in AEW. He'll probably take the pin. He'll look at the lights on his way out like a good guy should, right? That's what you do on your way out. You lose, finally. Gotta put the Young Bucks over. They can have their EVP evil title run. And that makes sense to me, right? Does things make sense? Does wrestling make sense? Oftentimes, no. So I'm thinking this weekend, I think some things are going to happen. I mean, the most unpredictable Royal Rumble in a long, long time, really, right? So that's what kind of had its claws in me. I'm thinking, man, what's going to go on this weekend? It's going to be fun. I knew I really wanted to see it, more than I wanted to see a Royal Rumble in a while. And, you know, Royal Rumble's almost everybody's favorite. I mean, come on, give me a break. Royal Rumble's the best. Am I going to be right about Sting and Darby Allin? Who knows? So we started to set up my gear here, and I realized I had to update some drivers and get a few things going on, and it was good. So I think we might do this a little bit more in the future. Hopefully you guys don't hate this ramble. Very promo-heavy show, brought us all in. Who doesn't want to see the Rumble this weekend? But let's go right to Nia Jax. The women in general. The women this weekend, I think, for me, is an easy pick. It's got to be Bayley. I think it's pretty obvious Bayley deserves the win. Everybody's going to be behind that. There's a lot of emotion, the damage control angle. There's lots they can do there, and she'll go on to take on Io Sky for the title at WrestleMania. Pretty straightforward. There's going to be some elimination chamber stuff maybe going on, so that'll be fun. Jade Cargill. Everybody thinks she might debut at the Rumble. I think, I don't want to talk bad, but I don't think she's quite ready. Perhaps WWE's a little shocked as to how not ready she was. But also, I wouldn't want to debut her and have her get thrown out, you know? So if she's going to debut, she's probably got to win, which is cool. If she comes in, wins the Rumble, you know, has a match or no matches all the way till WrestleMania to take on whoever is the champion at the time, whoever they think is the best match for her, and put her over. You know, you could do this whole Goldberg or like crazy newcomer thing. Obviously, it's happened in the past in New Japan with Vader and other people. It's a great idea. I think it's Bayley's time, though. WWE's, they're slow burning stuff this time around, you know, and new management. Cargill could be next year, debut next year. You know, monster heel to come out to attack the new baby face Bayley in the end run. Of course, there's Becky Lynch, there's Nia Jax, but I think there's more storyline there with an interesting elimination or how she comes in or goes out. She doesn't need to win to further her story. And we've got Trinity coming in. I don't think anybody is in denial over the fact that Trinity's coming in, but who's going to be, there's going to be some more surprises, I'm sure. Let's not forget Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. So all kinds of cool stuff could be happening in the Rumble, but I still believe that it's going to be Bayley here in the end run. But let's go now to the men. We'll go straight to the beginning of Monday Night Raw. It's Gunther and Seth Rollins. So Seth Rollins came out at the beginning of Raw, and, you know, I think I need to relax here because there's a lot that I was thinking about this morning, and talking about the ladies there, I felt like I was a real talking head, like blah, 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 blah. And really, I just kind of wanted to communicate what I was thinking about. So we'll try this a little bit more relaxed for this section, because I feel like WWE kind of did relax into this. I think perhaps Gunther and Seth Rollins was the plan, whether Seth got injured or not. You know, speaking of the injury, he came out, baited us all in. Obviously, he's hurt bad. They're very happy that it's not as bad as it could have been. It's not a 6 or 9 month thing. They're saying it's a 4-month thing. He's going to push it. You know, he's an elite athlete, CrossFit guy. He can probably do it. And they can work around the knee in the match as well. I mean, these guys are pros. He basically said as much after Gunther came out and did his spiel and said the wrong day for the pay-per-view, which, man, that's the kind of thing that could kill him backstage in the end run, where they're like, hey, he's not quite ready for prime time, that kind of mistake. And I'm not trying to be a dick or harsh or anything, but these people can be harsh. This is prime time. This is big deal. And now this is TKO Endeavor. It's not just WWE. It's not just Vince. It's big time. But anyways, let's not focus on that. Gunther came out. I think this was going to be the plan anyways. The same way that perhaps Cody and CM Punk was going to be the plan later on anyways. Now, if Seth was really injured and couldn't do, man, what a swerve. Like, what an incredible bring out Cody and Punk. Like, who doesn't want to see that match suddenly? Like, what a thing to be like, well, now that Seth is injured, how about this? Like, holy shit. Yeah, how about that? That was amazing. But I think maybe they were going to do that anyways. Just like I was saying, this is the most unpredictable Royal Rumble in so long, and they wanted to give you all the different flavors and possibilities like heading into it. They're like, what about this? What about that? What's going on? We haven't even heard from Brock. And that's what I'll talk about with Gunther. Now, JD from NY, I was listening to his podcast, and he actually had a really cool suggestion. So as far as Seth and Gunther are concerned, Seth is not going to be in the Rumble, but Gunther is. He was number one last year, right to the end. They could do that again. I don't know what they're going to do, but I think it would be fun. We've got Imperium and New Day. I mean, we saw what happened right after this promo. That was the very next thing, an incredible little encounter. I wouldn't call it a match, but some cool shit there with those guys. They're going to encounter each other in the Royal Rumble as well. And imagine we get to a point where it's both members of the New Day and all three members of Imperium in there. And here comes Big E.
Don't you dare be sour!
Now, a lot of people want Big E to come back. He did say online that he's looking to make smart decisions with his life. And I think it would be really awesome if he came in, we had that showdown, and imagine the pop, imagine the moment in time when Gunther gets eliminated by Big E. The problem is who eliminates Big E right after. It might have to be a mass elimination of all the New Day or something. Who knows what happens? Or maybe he does, he goes over the top rope with Gunther. But there's a million things that could happen in this Rumble. I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying this is cool. JD made the point. Big E comes in. We have the 3-on-3, and eventually Gunther gets eliminated by Big E. Boom, Gunther's gone. So what happens to Gunther after the Royal Rumble? I figure like Big E's not coming back full time. It might be nice if he was at Mania and there's a match for you and I see, that who's going to take it from Gunther, everybody's saying. That'd be cool. If he's ready to come back, there's your guy, right? But let's say that's not going to happen. Let's say that afterwards he's upset on Monday Night Raw. He's upset about getting eliminated. He can take on anybody. He's the most dominant. He's this, he's that. I'm hoping we get our Lesnar match. Everybody's been talking about Gunther and Lesnar. Imagine he comes out, all like cowboyish like he is. Oh yeah, boom. And he comes out, kicks all their asses, one-on-one, face-to-face with Gunther. Maybe even kind of takes him out because he didn't like his attitude, didn't like something he was saying. Because Gunther can't travel to, I think it's Australia, wherever the Elimination Chamber is. Supposedly Gunther can't travel there, so he's not going to be at Elimination Chamber. So it'd be nice if he was like taken out or something, and then he comes back and he's gonna Brock Lesnar, you take me out, you and me WrestleMania, and so Lesnar versus Gunther at WrestleMania, and imagine Gunther goes over, he's still IC champ, he defends against Lesnar, boom. That puts him in a pretty strong position moving forward after WrestleMania, and there's a couple of ideas there as well, right? But hey, it's not perfect, but there's something there because I still want to see Punk and Seth. I'm going to throw in an edit after the fact here because I was listening to JD once again. It's funny that I'm bringing him up twice in this little podcast thing, though, but I love how he rants. But he brings up a good point. How does Justin Barrasso really have this information? It really is just his opinion. Nobody in the inner circle from Triple H's side is going to give this guy the biggest scoop of the wrestling year 2 months ahead of time with all this information. But like I was saying, Cody's probably not going to finish the story because that kind of ends Cody, puts a freaking stick a fork in him, But Bash in Berlin is the next event supposedly after WrestleMania. And imagine the Goldberg-style squashing of Seth Rollins with the knee and then Gunther moving on to Bash in Berlin with both title belts and soon after maybe doing an Ultimate Warrior thing or a title thing or whatever. So that's pretty interesting that the Berlin pay-per-view is next and it makes sense to smash Gunther over hard. So I thought I'd maybe just throw that in here quick. I don't know if I said this earlier, Justin Barrasso came out with his report. It was going to be Gunther and Seth. It was going to be Rock versus Roman, and it was going to be Cody and Punk. Those are all going to be great, right? Those are all going to be great. Who am I to say that they're not going to be great? But that's not what I wanted. I don't think that's what a lot of people were expecting and wanted. So I do think I touched on this earlier. The Triple H and the higher-ups were not happy about this getting released. Some people say it's set in stone. Some people are saying it's not at all, and this is all bullshit. But I'm hoping that it's bullshit because I want to see Seth and Punk. And I think they can do a pretty good job. And we've got the Money in the Bank briefcase, right? We've got Drew McIntyre. What's he going to do for WrestleMania? We got Drew maybe mixing it up with the Judgment Day in the Rumble and with Damian specifically, and they're gonna move towards WrestleMania together. Damian Priest can get involved in the Seth and Punk match. And I don't think he's like a WrestleMania 31 Seth Rollins cash-in type thing, but it is a great way for somebody to lose without losing. Maybe if Seth goes over at WrestleMania. So like in my mind, if I was booking it, I should probably approach this video. Sorry, I'm a rookie at this. We'll streamline it in the future. If Seth takes on Punk, I think he should like go over. I think it should be like a Macho Man Ric Flair thing, like the knee, the whole match, Punk getting more and more heated and healed throughout the match. You know, it's going to be very face on face at the beginning. People might even boo Seth a little bit. Well, he'll have his whoa chance, but he's the obnoxious guy who's been a little healed in the last year, and Punk's like the returning savior, right? But we all know the Punk storyline. Everybody's expecting to be a heel, and the IWC says like, come on with your whole I'm home crap and hell froze over. Even Cody saying you're disingenuous. I'm more CM Punk than you. So it could be an easy turn, double turn. I mean, CM Punk loves to think he is a wrestling genius, and he is, right? So this could be really awesome. They could involve Damian Priest, but really, if you want to get this thing off of Priest, sorry if I'm bouncing around a lot, you involve him in the four-way match with Roman and LA Knight and Randy Orton and AJ Styles. Like, who's going to take the pin there? And obviously not Randy. Supposedly that's why they did the four-way instead of the one-on-one with Roman. They don't want it to lose. Do you want LA Knight to lose? I mean, there you go. He's probably going to take on Logan Paul for the U.S. title at WrestleMania, in my opinion. AJ's just come back. You don't really want him to lose. Dude, a Damian attempted cash-in during the match. He could take a pin, right? Once you cash in, he could take a pin, and the match is over. And there you go. So that'd be great. If I was doing this, that's what I do. Get this thing out of the way, man. Have him try and do it at the opportune time when, like, everybody's schmozzed. Who knows? Like, they could do a lot of stuff. They got the Bloodline in there. Who else is in there? Randy. I'm trying to think who else has backup. I guess AJ Styles has the Club. But anyways, that's what I would do in some fashion. I try and get the thing off of Damian, have him eat the pin, so nobody has to eat the pin. Poor AJ's probably going to eat the pin, I guess, if you don't want to make LA Knight look bad. But it's going to be LA or AJ. So why not Damian Priest, right? And then go on to face Drew McIntyre. So let's see. Have I gotten lost on myself? We'll go back to Gunther and Seth. I think Seth should take on CM Punk. Gunther's going to take on Brock Lesnar. And hopefully we have our Big E thing, or maybe Big E. So the four-way, LA Knight against Logan Paul. I don't know what's going on with the other guys here. Maybe they can take on each other. Randy and AJ Styles. Who knows? Obviously, everything can't be big time. Hopefully they'll do something there. So we move on through the show, Cody and Punk. What a promo. I don't need to go on here and talk about that promo. If you're watching me right now, you've obviously seen that promo. I think, that's going to be great. I think they should be the Iron Man in the match, or like maybe do the ending with Undertaker, Shawn Michaels kind of ending. Who knows if they're going to be one or two. You could do Bulldog Michaels where they both come in at the beginning and go all the way through. But I think it could be them at the end. Because you got a hell of a Rumble here. You got McIntyre. I think Undertaker's going to be in the Rumble. He can take an elimination. It'll be a hell of a bing bong, and then here comes the Undertaker. That'll be great. I don't think, people could really fantasize with this Rumble about a million things you can do. Some people say it should be McIntyre winning. It could be Orton winning, even though he probably won't be in the match. But I think it should be like a Punk and Cody at the end, maybe doing the Iron Man thing, having themselves a match, because I don't think they should touch for like a whole year after this. We'll like move way, way farther down the line, because I think Punk should eventually win the world title with Seth. I know I said Seth should go over. And I think Cody should finish his story I guess the reason I decided to do this was because I was thinking about a lot of stuff, so I might as well keep going. Maybe he won't finish the story. You got to think about how these executives think and how wrestling is. You can't finish the story. What's he going to do after that? Have a few defenses? Cody the babyface champion? Obviously, careers go on. He's going to be a multi-time champion or whatever. But if he wraps up his story, it really could go downhill fast in a lot of ways. He could become very John Cena-ish, very tired. I know he loves to be sappy. He loves to be epic. He loves to be serious, while goofy. He could jump the shark eventually. Not finishing the story, could be a cool thing, because they want to do Rock against Roman, right? Hopefully the head of the table line from Rock just meant that he was going to be part of the board of directors of Endeavor, TKO, which is now what's happening, right? But they can't pass it up. The biggest match of all time, WrestleMania 40. Rock versus Roman. Who reigns? Board of directors member versus their head of the table. I mean, really, they'll probably do that because they don't care about us, IWC. They don't care about Cody, and they'll probably use the argument I just made. Finish the story. Punk is part of Cody's story. Punk is they just told you how he's part of the story, and we see the pictures online of them hugging at the AEW event, and we realize behind the scene these guys have been friends for a long time. Remember, Punk was in MLW back when that soundbite they use of Major League of Wrestling, that soundbite they use of Dusty Rhodes in the MLW intro, back when Kojima was champ, and that's why Punk, Kojima. Punk met Kojima many times. He hung out with Dusty Rhodes at MLW. That was a thing. And now he's in NXT, and he's saying, my son's coming there. Behind the scenes, there's a whole massive universe of people that all know each other, being involved in Demand Lucha and booking shows, being involved in these shows. We make decisions based on circumstance more than what we want a lot of the time. And relationships are important in everything. The relationships determine the booking decisions along with circumstance far more often than what we think we should want to do or that we would like to do for the fans or the mark decision we'd like to make of this would be a cool match. It's all about finances, it's all about schedules, and it's all about relationships and circumstance. But getting away from that, these two guys, this is the story, right? It's part of Cody's story. If he's not going to finish the story here, then he's continuing his story through WrestleMania. So maybe these Barrasso reports are correct. It would be fun if somehow after WrestleMania, Seth loses the title right away. He needs some time off, right? Obviously, he's going to rehab. Some guys don't get surgery and they just rehab injuries. I think Sir Seth is getting the surgery and rehabbing. I think he has to get the surgery. It's not something you can just straight rehab from. I don't know a lot about these things, but I do know a lot from talking to wrestlers that there's often options. But it looks like he's going to get the surgery and then rehab hard, which he can do, I'm sure, as the kind of athlete he is. But he should probably lose it right after WrestleMania. There's another cash-in opportunity if Damian Priest is still holding this bloody thing all the way through. Cash in, Gunther gets it somehow. I didn't really think about the Gunther Big E thing until I mentioned it in this video. It would be nice if Big E got the title from him. It doesn't really hurt Gunther. It's such a babyface return. People are so behind him. Gunther can work his neck slightly and everybody's, like when Shawn Michaels came back with his back and Triple H was attacking his back. Man, they could really make it great. And then Big E pulls out the win. Gunther. And then he could easily slide in, destroy Seth in some match. And now you've got Punk having to take on Gunther. And Punk will eventually get the title at some point, maybe SummerSlam. And Punk is your champion, your world champ now, later on in the year. And Cody's going to, hopefully move on to Roman at some point. Maybe, I don't know. See, this is where I started to not know what to do next. But in my mind, you wanted to have Cody win the title from Roman, and that Cody's going to be the guy. And Seth is going to take on Punk. And I didn't really want Punk to win. I thought it'd be great if he lost and then won it later. It would be, you got to subvert sometimes, right? I feel like there was other things I wanted to talk about. The Rumble, Sheamus is going to come back in the Rumble. We're going to have a great Final Four here. Could be Sheamus as number 30 coming out to surprise everybody, and you're going to have your Final Four pretty close at that point. And Drew McIntyre is going to be there. Punk and Cody are going to be there. So you got Sheamus coming in. Gunther's probably going to be there. You got the big hard-hitting boys in there. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great weekend. Moving on throughout the year, I don't know. I see Punk, I see Cody. I'd like to see them have belts, but imagine they just kept it on Roman. They could do it, man. They don't want to talk about Hogan anymore. Although they are talking about Hogan coming back in the Rumble. Or was it just Hogan talking about himself coming back in the Rumble? I don't know. But this is getting a little long-winded. I'm sure that once I stop recording, I'm going to be like, damn it, there was more things I wanted to talk about. Maybe I should think here for just a moment. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, tag titles. Oh, here we go. I think Truth and Miz should win the tag titles, maybe even at WrestleMania. All right, so the guys from Cultaholic had a cool idea, actually. King Ross, he was talking about the cash-in with Damian Priest. It's actually, when he opens it up, it's filled with money. There's no contract in there because R-Truth has put money in it from all the T-shirt sales. And what's the combination? And what he was asking for the other day. So he has to go get the contract. So either Priest or R-Truth, you know, they're going to have R-Truth has the physical contract. If it's Priest, like I said earlier, cashing in and doing all the stuff, that's great. But his version, the Cultaholic guys said, R-Truth gets in, he cashes in the contract and throws all four guys over the top rope, like Roman and AJ and Randy Orton and LA Knight. And he thinks he's won the Royal Rumble, he's won the championship. And he's like, yeah, very R-Truth. And then he gets speared out of his boots and he gets pinned. And Roman pins R-Truth to retain his title and it's over. So that'd be hilarious. That'd be great. And that leads to Damian Priest getting furious and kicking the shit out of R-Truth, which leads to the tag team title match at WrestleMania or even through Elimination Chamber. They're going to need some big stuff at Elimination Chamber with no Seth Rollins and no Roman Reigns and no Gunther. So maybe we'll have that tag match there. If you're still listening, that's awesome. What do YouTube people say?
Like all these stupid boomers, people over 40 don't know how hard it is for young people. Like, yo, if you guys feel the same way, just leave a comment down below and smash that like button.
There you go. Do all that stuff. Smash. I don't think I'm going to say smash the like button. That's not going to be my thing. And if you watched all the way to the end here, thank you very, very much. We've been trying to get monetized lately, so the watch hours were that close. So if you watched the whole video, you really helped out a lot. Thanks so much. And we'll do this after the Rumble. We're going to come back. Maybe I'll get some of my fans. We'll talk to some people in my inner circle here, and maybe we'll do a review of the Rumble. We'll see what happens.